Dune, doo dune, dune. Dune, doo dune, dune. Welcome to another 4K Ultra HD review. Today we're going to take a look at Arrow Video's brand new release of Dune, the 1984 sci-fi classic based off the Frank Herbert novel from 1965. Now, this movie was directed by David Lynch. However, David Lynch disowned this film because he was upset he did not get the final cut, and it wasn't exactly what he wanted to make. Now, this book, Frank Herbert's Dune, it was a very influential sci-fi novel where he wrote this basically hopped up on shrooms and reimagining a space version of Lawrence of Arabia. This movie went through many directors, I believe, Ridley Scott, Alejandro Jodorowsky, where there's an excellent documentary based off of his interpretation of the film, Jodorowsky's Dune, that I highly recommend people watching once you have a chance. This film was ultimately a box office failure. It grossed $30.9 million and it cost $40 million to make. Most of it was shot in Mexico because of the scenes with the sand and whatnot. But it was a very amazing sci-fi film in the sense of the use of practical effects, miniatures, matte shots, the whole gambit. It looks very good, and especially watching it in 4K, you really do appreciate the special effects that was put into this back in the 80s. I can see why it was very difficult to make this into a film version of it. And since it's based off a book that's essentially this space opera with these various fractions all fighting over a planet called Arrakis, because that planet produces the spice, which is what all of space travel is based off of. So if you've seen the new Star Trek TV show, Star Trek Discovery, they use some sort of space fungus. I mean, this was spice. They use this spice that is what fuels all the spaceships. And essentially the story is so long and complicated. It reminds me of Game of Thrones. But Game of Thrones was a long series of many, many episodes. To squeeze a story as epic as that into a 2-3 hour film is a daunting task, and that would be difficult for any director. Now, it's interesting to see, and obviously this film, the re-release, this 4K release, was put out in tandem with the upcoming release of Denis Villeneuve's version of Dune, which comes out in early October, which is just weeks away from now. So it'll be interesting to see how Denis Villeneuve will remake Dune. He did a great job with Blade Runner. He made the I guess it was a sequel to Blade Runner, which I thought was really good. I mean, it was long. I think some critics didn't like it because it was long and felt drawn out, but visually it was amazing. This movie visually is great. And I just can't wait to see what Denis Villeneuve is going to do with Dune. But besides that, this is a good way of revisiting this film. It's considered a cult classic. I enjoy it. I mean, I do understand why people have faults with it because of the plot. However, there's a lot of funny scenes in this movie and enjoyable stuff. I mean, it's weird. It is like space Lawrence of Arabia. It was interesting watching it and seeing all these like kind of Islamic references in it. It felt like space Islam and stuff like that. It was very, very interesting take on, like, you can see all the different influences that went into making the science fiction world out of it. And it made me interested in the books. I'm interested in those Frank Herbert books. I know that It has influenced a lot of sci-fi, rightfully so. However, like I said, the movie can drag at some times. It gets weird. Honestly, my favorite part were all the parts with House Harkonnen.
It's yours to squeeze, as I promised. I want you to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze! Give me spice!
I guess they were like these space sadist kind of weirdo freak people. And Sting, the singer Sting, was one of their assassins, I guess. In that, those characters were really funny and entertaining, and possibly the most engaging parts of the film, for me at least. Yeah, there was a lot of celebrities before they were big celebrities in the film. And like I talked about Star Trek before, Patrick Stewart's in this movie. And I believe he was in this movie before Next Generation was on television. So this kind of was a big part of him breaking it through into the sci-fi world. But besides the film itself, the HD transfer is spot on. It looks great. There's not too much grain, and then there's also not too much DRN removing that grain. It looks really nice. The package itself, this is the particular steel case that I bought. Now, there was choices of 3 different versions of this movie. Like there's like super deluxe, a little bit deluxe, and then this version of it. I opted for this version. I'm not a huge fan of Dune, but I actually liked this cover opposed to the other cover that just had the sandworm. This comes with packed full of bonus features. It's 3 discs. 1 disc is the 4K. The 4K, believe it or not, even though the film is so long, the 4K copy of this movie still has a bunch of bonus features crammed onto it. I'm guessing because most of them were standard definition or HD. But it comes with a whole other disc full of bonuses. There's so many nice featurettes and stuff that talk about the special effects and the wardrobe and whatnot. There's even these small reels of production stills of all these like high definition images that they took, photos they took. It's a real treat. If you're a fan of Dune, you definitely want to get this copy of the movie. It doesn't get better than this. It's a good way of getting hyped for the new version of Dune that's coming out this October. So I'm really excited about that. It was nice revisiting this film. Overall, because of the plot, it kind of drags. I'm not a huge fan of the movie itself, but I still do enjoy it. But this particular Arrow release is amazing. It's the definitive version of Dune that you can possibly purchase. So I give it an 8 out of 10. So that's my review of Dune in 4K. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell so you know the next time there's a 4K Ultra HD review. Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite David Lynch movie? Is it Elephant Man? Is it Mulholland Drive? I'm a huge fan of the Twin Peaks TV series. Let me know in the comments, and you have a great rest of your week. I appreciate you.